Hey, and welcome to Dirty Lazy Girl, a podcast that offers realistic girlfriend support and problem solving for imperfect people.
You don't have to be perfect to be successful. Every week, we'll give you unconventional, dirty, or lazy problem solving strategies. Let's get started. Happy New Year, Stephanie. Look at us all in our glitter. I'm so excited to celebrate the start of 2021. Can't be any worse than 2020. And a brand new season of the Dirty Lazy Girl podcast. I'm really looking forward to that.
Happy New Year to you too, Tamara.
Thank you.
La, la, la. It is January 2021, and we have an action-packed schedule of exciting podcast topics planned. And every episode, just so our listeners know what they're in for, it is designed to help you overcome obstacles that might be in your path on your way to achieving your goals, whatever your goals may be.
That's right, Stephanie. But our listeners should know what they're in for. We give lots of off-the-wall advice when it comes to trying to solve problems, lazy and dirty, crazy advice. Our strategies are surprising, unconventional, and sometimes hilarious. That's why we call ourselves the Dirty Lazy Girls, because we tend to break the rules.
Oh, you got that one right, Tamara. Well, take today's topic, for example. We're going to be hosting a Set the Bar Low workshop to help our listeners map out their New Year's resolutions.
I love that. When we say set the bar low, we're talking about creating goals for yourself that are easier to reach. We want you to feel successful and confident going into 2021 and get some momentum going. We even have a free SMART Goals template for you to download and fill out for today's podcast, available at dirtylazyketo.com. But before we get started, let's take a quick break.
Awesome. Thank you, Tamara. For our listeners who are looking to save time with quick meal prep in 2021, help has arrived. Today's episode is sponsored by La 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 La. Do you like that? Do you like the singing? It is from the Dirty Lazy Keto No Time to Cook cookbook, where every delicious low-carb recipe can be made in 30 minutes or less from start to finish. That includes prep time. And these are the recipes that helped me lose 140 pounds and keep that weight off for 8 years. I get to say 8 years now. Woo-hoo, 8 years. Oh my gosh. So order your copy today at dirtylazyketo.com/books.
Thank you, Stephanie. Well, let's get started. I've got my SMART goal template right here in front of me. So you and I are going to explain how to use the template and why it's so valuable.
Exactly. So here's the deal, Tamara. I think that by committing to our goals in writing, I think we are about approximately 10,000 times more likely to achieve them. Do you think that's a true fact?
Yes, that's based on statistically verified research.
That's official Dirty Lazy Keto research. But seriously though, wouldn't you agree that if you write it down, you're just 100 times more likely to actually do it?
I totally agree. With anything, actually.
Yeah, with anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even a text. I mean, anything, writing it down. It just seems to put it maybe more real.
Yeah. I think it's a great resource. So definitely go download the form and fill it out with us.
And fill it out with us. Yeah. We were doing this ahead of time and we had so much fun because here's the deal. When you start setting the bar low and start brainstorming like what your goals are for 2021, then you come up with some really crazy stuff. I don't know. Did your goals come to you automatically, Tamara, or did you have to kind of think about them?
No, I had to think about it. I mean, just have that conversation with, well, what do I really want? And what can I actually realistically achieve?
Yeah. Because it's easy to be like, oh, I'm going to, quit my job and travel the world. And and then you're all, that's maybe not so realistic.
Exactly. Exactly. So I even need help just picking out a goal, much less getting the goal.
No, I'm with you. I mean, I really had to sit down and have a come to Jesus meeting with myself a little bit. And I was surprised. I think you were too. We were talking before the episode started about how what we thought was our goal, maybe at the end of the workshop and we went through the steps, it kind of evolved into something even bigger.
I think so. I think the worksheet is helpful just in deciding whether or not to do the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because I had a couple, I was like, oh, I'll do that. And I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not.
Yeah, no, it helps you. It helps weed out. I mean, that wasn't the purpose of it, actually. The purpose was to help you get to your goal, But if you do the form, it'll help you realize whether or not you even want to do the goal.
Yeah, and it really fine tunes it. Like you start off
Mhm.
maybe with something really lofty and hard to actually document.
Yeah.
But going through the steps of the worksheet really help you fine tune it in a way that it's going to become much
Yeah.
more achievable and realistic. So why don't
Yeah.
we get started, shall we?
Yeah. So we both picked some goals and
Okay.
to go through with the worksheet. My goal was to cut down on the eating out.
Hmm.
It saves some money, but that actually wasn't the main reason. I think I just eat healthier when I'm at home. I stay on my eating plan a lot better because I'm in more control. But yet I found myself eating out probably too much. So my goal is to eat out less.
Okay. I like that. I can see that being something important to you.
Yeah.
You know what, Tamara, I wrestled with a few different things I mentioned, and well, one of them I think is the gum chewing. Like I'm almost embarrassed to share that because I really bragged almost in the past about how much gum I chew and how that has helped me to avoid overeating and
Yeah.
sweet tooth issues and stress and basically to stop eating after dinner. That's been a
Yeah.
tool. So I really bragged about it, but now I feel like it's becoming a problem because I'm going to go deep here. I'm getting like mouth sores because I chew so much.
Oh,
And it's
wow.
also embarrassing how much money I've actually realized I'm spending on gum.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Is that going to be, well, we'll go through and see because that sounds like a hard one.
It's kind of serious.
Oh, well,
But let's start from the top. Let's go through the
do
worksheet.
it.
And our listeners, of course, are going to download this at home so they can kind of go through it with us and see what we're talking about.
Okay. So what's the first step there on the worksheet?
First step in the worksheet is it specific? So we're going to use the acronym SMART, SMART, and the S is the first step of the worksheet and it's specific. So you're going to ask yourself a question. Is your goal specific enough? You want to explain that to yourself, give details, kind of think about like who, what, where, when, why. So ask yourself, Tamara, let's kind of go through our goals as an example. Is your goal specific enough, do you think?
Well, no, not that I think of it, because I'm like, just saying I want to eat less. Well, how much less? And I think I need to start thinking, this question makes me think, okay, do I just want to cut out one less time a week or just go one time a week or 2 times a week or once a month? I mean, I got to sit down and think. And it makes me think too, when I decide that, what's realistic, like what's going to really work for me. So I thought about it. I think I can realistically go to just eating out once a week, like maybe on a weekend for a date night or something.
I like that. That's very specific. You're telling yourself, I'm going to eat out less, but what that means to you is to eat out once a week.
Yes. And that's
you really drilled it down. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I like how you're already kind of jumping ahead because you're the professor. You're my A student. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, let's keep to this specific one first. I'm teasing you.
Okay.
But I, again, kind of like you, I said, I want to chew less gum, but that's not very specific. I'm like, for a lot of people, how much they would chew would be different from what I want to chew.
Yeah.
I feel so stupid just saying this out loud. Okay. I just want to admit that I'm like kind of turning red here. But I just have to give you an example of what I'm dealing with. So this is what I order on Amazon. It comes in a giant pack of 6 cubes, the Trident Spearmint, and there's 50. Oh my God, this is 300 sticks total. It's like 50 per whatever. And I order this, Tamara, once a month. And then I got so crazy. I started having it delivered twice a month. And then sometimes more. No, girl, I'm serious.
I didn't realize you were eating.
I need gum anonymous.
So you have one in your mouth all the time?
No, that's not true. I just go on these weird gum binging things where, like, for example, after dinner, I will start feeling stressed. My kids are fighting, homework's due, the dog needs walking. I still have my work to do on the computer, dishes. You know what I mean? Like I'm starting to feel the stress of the evening, and then I'll just start chewing it, and I'll just pop 2 in my mouth, one after another, and chew an entire container.
So
anyway, being specific, Tamara, I'm thinking I would like to cut back on my gum by 50%.
And do you feel like you can do that? Like it's realistic?
I think it's realistic. And what that would look like for me is I'm still going to chew a lot of gum. Don't get me wrong. I'm still going to have it delivered, but I'm thinking I'm going to cut my deliveries in half.
Okay.
So I get it once a month. And then I'm going to chew one piece at a time.
Oh, so you normally chew 2?
Are the listeners at home laughing with me or at me? I cannot decide. It's okay. This is part of the Dirty Lazy Girl podcast, is I'm sharing and I'm being vulnerable. And yes, this is becoming a little bit of an issue.
Yeah.
So I'm going to commit to chewing gum by half.
Okay.
So that's specific. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we both narrowed it down pretty good.
I'm very proud of you. I know. I feel like I'm stepping out on a limb here with my stories though, Tamara.
I know, it feels very vulnerable, doesn't it? Because you have to, I'm like, even admitting that I eat out as
well, how often do you eat
out?
Yeah,
see, no, that's the question. That's the question I was hoping you wouldn't
join me feeling very uncomfortable.
I wouldn't say a couple times a week, but honestly, on a busy week, sometimes it's 3 times. It's like too many times, 3 or 4. Like, we're running out for lunch because we picking up sandwiches because I haven't done the shopping or whatever. It's just too much. Yeah.
Are you including Starbucks?
Oh, I'm not including no.
That's separate. Because I feel very alone here.
I say eating, not drinking, but no.
See, that's good. I really now again, this was very specific.
Yeah.
That's important that we identify, because if you were talking about coffee and food, that would be different.
Yeah.
You narrowed it down to just food. So
yeah.
Okay, we've done good. Coffee. Do you see how painful the SMART goal workshop
I know. I thought this was going to be easy.
It is not. I was almost laughing like, is this something we should do? And I'm like, yes, we should. So let's move on away from S. What does the M stand for in our worksheet? M is
for measurable. So how are we going to measure or keep track of progress? And we want to have proof that you were, think of it like, if you could show someone proof that you're keeping track of your goal, that would be the ultimate.
I like that. So it's not only like how much you measure keeping track of your goal, but also achieving your goal.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's something you can measure.
Yes, both things, right. I didn't think of that, actually. I was just thinking more of am I sticking to it?
Yeah, both ways, right? So how would you then, with the eating out, it sounds like you want to go to like once a week, or did you say twice? I
said once a week.
Okay, once a week. So how will you keep track of that, Tamara?
Well, it's funny because I wasn't sure, like, I could do it on my phone, but honestly, I don't check my phone a lot, like in the notes or on the calendar. So I thought for me, the thing that will remind me and stick out is on my refrigerator. So if I put a little piece of paper on the refrigerator and each week, and then when I eat out, just put a mark on that so I know. And then if I did it 2 times, I'll see my patterns over time, and maybe even see what days I'm like, is it just the weekend or is it during the week? And I don't know. That was my thought for measuring it.
I like that. And that way I like that it's public. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's on the fridge, so you're going to see it and walk by it a lot. Other people can see it in your family if they see you like every day Xing. Yes. Or like you said, I like how you mentioned the patterns, because you might be aware that, the weekends or something better for eating out versus the week, or you might need to modify your goal if it's not working.
Exactly.
So that's helpful, I think.
Yeah, it'll help me modify it. Like maybe I can let's say I can't do 1 time a week, but I notice it's always on the weekend, then just say just weekends.
Yeah.
I could modify it that way.
You definitely could. We could change the measurable to include modify if need be.
Well,
this is our damn workshop when we get to the
We're
dirty and lazy.
Well, and another M, this Mamart.
Mamart it on the calendar.
Yes. Well, what about you, Stephanie? How are you gonna? Are you gonna measure your gum chewing? How do you do that?
This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna measure it with my monthly subscriptions. You liked all those M sounds?
Yes.
I just came out with that on Amazon.
And I'm modify.
I'm going to modify my Amazon order, and I'm only going to order, this is what I'm committing to, 1 of these a month. So right now I currently have 2 subscriptions going. I'm going to cut that in half. What do you think?
No,
Girl, do you have gum in your mouth at every moment of every day?
Yeah, I know.
No, Tamara.
Well, no. I'm just kind of
that would be crazy. Only at night. I've even had some people in the Facebook group having a discussion about my gum chewing. I noticed this morning.
Oh, that's so funny.
Like, okay, this is really bad.
Well, you're not the only one, I'm sure, though.
Here's the thing. It's better for me to chew this crazy amount of gum than it is eating or
Yeah.
what else. I don't know, whatever else I could do.
Biting your nails or something more destructive. Yeah.
Yeah. At least I'm not doing that.
No.
Come on. It's not that bad. And
No,
it's not
it's
that
not.
expensive, but for me, it's just, I
Yeah.
just feel like it's getting a little out of control.
And so you'll measure it by your orders.
I'm going to measure by my orders.
Yeah. Easy peasy.
No cheating there. And I'm not going to buy it in a store. I promise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah. Okay.
And
What's
you'll
A?
see.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. A. So smart. SMA. Actionable. Is this doable? What actions will you need to take? Be specific, identify tasks, use verbs.
Well, seriously, that we have to think, well,
Yeah.
what are we going to do to start making progress toward this goal? Like, what actions will you take?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny. This step pretty much hit me in the face with what I'm up for, because I was like, wait a minute, if I'm not going to eat out, what am I going to do instead?
You're all, crap, I'm hungry.
Yeah. Wait, that means I have to cook. And so I was thinking, I need better meal planning, actually, So for my actionable steps, I thought Sundays are the day I tend to get ready for the week. Like I do my grocery shopping. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to be more intentional and do better at making a list of meals through the week, and getting all the ingredients and having it all ready on Sunday. So it's going to force me to just I do some meal planning, but honestly, some weeks are better than others. So this will force me to really sit down and do things like we've suggested on the podcast before, like make bulk meats so that you can get like 2 chickens in the crock pot, and that way I can get like 2 or 3 meals out of that. But that takes some planning.
Yeah. It
So
does.
yeah. So
and shopping too, right?
Yeah, shopping, planning, and then cooking.
There's a lot of actions.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you feeling right now? Is that like, how does that make you feel thinking about having to do all that?
Well, it's like, wait a minute, I thought this is about just not eating out, but it's actually about meal planning. That's actually the real issue. It kind of
feel a little surprised about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like, wait, that's a lot of work.
And you're like, man, why did I choose this one?
But it's good. I mean, it's good. This is a good goal. It makes me appreciate the goal even more, because actually it's about making better choices, making better planning, and it's going to make better meals, but also it'll save me money. Again, I wasn't really planning for that, but that's like a really added bonus. I don't know if you were talking about writing things down. What I don't do now, I write my shopping list, but I should probably write my meals down for the week. The calendar, I was thinking, or on the refrigerator again. And then that way I'll stick to it, I think.
Okay.
What about you? Do you have an actionable plan?
Well, Tamara, kind of like you, when I started making the action plan and thinking what steps I needed to take, I realized, like you, it's a lot more complicated than just canceling my Amazon subscription. I was like, okay, well then what? Like that's just a Band-Aid approach to my goal planning. Like I'm going to need help in the moment, because the reason I chew gum is not because it's like so fabulous and great that I love giving myself headaches, because I chew so much gum. The reason I pop gum in my mouth is I do that when I'm feeling stressed. I especially do it when I'm like nervous about something, like, I don't know, anything in life that I start to feel overwhelmed with. And instead of feeling the feeling or saying my feelings out loud, I shovel gum in my mouth and use that as a way to calm down, kind of like I used to do with food. So I realized I need to make a plan of actions, of things I'm going to do when I feel stressed. So I made a list. So the first thing I'm going to do is say the feeling out loud. And I know this sounds immature, but I'm going to like whisper it to myself. And I was even doing this before the podcast when my kids were fighting over who clogged the toilet. And I whispered to myself, yeah, no one wants to deal with that.
You have to sort that out.
Anxious, because I'm like, I got work to do. And I'm walking in here and they're out in the hall fighting. And I was like, okay, I'm going to practice right now, because I wanted gum. Like that was what I noticed. My mouth started watering. So then I realized, okay, I'm feeling stressed. And I was like whispering this out loud. I feel stressed that my kids are fighting and the toilet is clogged right before I'm starting a podcast. And then I just kept talking like, I feel stressed that I'm not a good parent, that I haven't taught them to be self-sufficient. I feel nervous. And I just went through it and said it out loud. And it really helped.
Oh, that's good.
It really did.
Yeah.
I still got a piece of gum after, but
Well,
but it helped.
yeah,
It
and
helped.
where you were saying, I think we said this on our a previous podcast, is that you can't taking the behavior totally away. It's a coping mechanism for you. So don't
Yes.
totally throw it out. So by only just reducing it, then at the same time you can work on building other strategies like whispering to yourself.
Like a crazy person. You know what I love about you, Tamara, is that you're so compassionate for me. You're always so compassionate and you see the big picture. So when you start getting stressed about your meal planning and you start worrying about that and worried that you're, not doing all or nothing, I'm going to give you your own advice back to you.
Okay.
Because
Please
that's really good
do.
advice. I will.
Please
Because
do.
I often do that. I say, Tamara, I'm going to quote Tamara to you. So this is going to be one of those moments. I can already see it. That's really kind advice. I need that coping mechanism. It's not going to go away right away. Just like maybe you might need to sneak in one extra to go order, and that might be okay with you too.
Yeah, it's just it's our self-care. Like the more I think about it, I didn't think about this till now, but eating out is saying I don't have to cook. The burden's off me. So it is a form of self-care. So that's why I like this plan, because it doesn't really force me to, never eat out. It's just saying, let's try reducing it.
And maybe reframing the way you are cooking for yourself, because you're like, this is a new form of self-care where I'm making food that I'm excited about, that's healthier or, it's comforting to me, and I'm choosing what to make. It could be a different way to look at the home cooking instead of a burden.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that. So reframing it. But okay, you throw my advice in my face.
I just think it's great advice. I think, in life, all or nothing behavior is not a good idea.
No. It's like
it's
a self-sabotage.
Yeah. Right? Setting yourself up for failure with these crazy all or nothing standards. Just like I may not be able to just whisper my feelings. I might need to text someone. I might need to call someone. I might need to just stand up and leave the room and go outside. I might need to
go scream at a pillow.
Or just ask my husband for help. Maybe he could help sort it out, or let the kids figure it out. At some point they'll need to use the toilet and learn they need to fix it. Right? I don't have to feel all the stress myself. And then just two other ideas I had, because I also am addicted to flossing my teeth. So I'm going to do that more often, because that works for me. I'm going to show you something else embarrassing. I wasn't planning.
You're going to have the cleanest teeth around, though.
I really do. I just went to the dentist and they're like, that's amazing.
I know.
I'm like, I choose 8,000 chews of gum a day. So here's my little cup of flossers. I have these everywhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's great. It's funny because I didn't think that this episode could get to do, but I was thinking too, even with cooking, like I think part of the eating out is my resentment that I'm not getting the help I need around the house with the kids cooking or the husband cooking or helping. So I think that's lurking into there.
Ooh, we're getting deep.
Yeah. Who knew?
Dang it. Maybe I'm just, we'll talk more, but this topic is not so simple.
No,
we are going deep.
Yeah. And maybe that's why I think the little SMART model, it just helps you, forces you to get underneath it a little bit without you realizing it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true. Well, we're going through the steps. So we did SMA. So now we're on R, which is realistic.
Okay.
So and you were kind of jumping the gum.
Sorry.
Gum. Oh, did you hear me say jumping the gum? I'm already like freaking out about my gum.
That's very Freudian.
That was very Freudian. But is it realistic? And you were kind of jumping the gun earlier talking about that. And that's important, because you want to ask yourself, is your goal realistic? Is it something you can actually do? A lot of people, like we talked about, will say stuff like, oh, I want to travel to Europe next year. Is that realistic? Do you have the money? Is the current travel advisory safe for you? Is your health okay? Do you have time off work? So you have to think about that. Is it real?
Yeah. And you can do it all throughout the steps, like I jumped ahead and did, but or even after you go through this to this point and then say, okay, wait, what's my plan? Step back. Is my plan? Because I kind of did that with mine. And once a week is great, but when I really think about it, when I get stressed and really busy, like during finals, I know that's going to be a hard time. So I'm not sure if I should revise the goal or just say during finals week, I'm going to give myself a maybe bump it up to 2 times a week, or or some have a little flexibility with while still keeping the, not allowing myself to ruin the goal, but just acknowledging a little bit something more realistic plan.
Let me ask you, Tamara, now that you're throwing that out there, like what would be the harm in having it 1 to 2 times per week?
Nothing. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean,
would you automatically go to the 2, or would you do the 1 and feel like an overachiever?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I like to set the bar low. And so for me, that means,
then I don't fail.
Then you don't fail.
Yeah. And
like you could do 1 to 2 times a week and then do 1 and feel like a rock star. And then if you go to 2, you're like, well, I'm still at goal.
I'm still a semi rock star.
You're still fabulous. I did that with the gym. In the past, I always signed up for the gym and I told myself, if I go once a week, that penciled out to me, to be worth the $20 a month or whatever. Yeah. And then if I went more than that, it made me feel like a rock star.
Yeah, that's a great approach, because even 2 times is less than I was before.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe I should just revise that.
Well, you got to do what's realistic for you, right? Like considering your finances, your environment, your schedule, if you have finals, or, you're gonna have to make this work on your terms and no one else's. And don't let your kids or husband or anyone else tell you what to do.
No. And you're not yes, I agree. And I'm saying this more for myself than anything, but even if I don't reach my goal, I can always revise my goal. And, because sometimes you find that when we have a nationwide health crisis, everybody's goals got revised. So what?
Yeah.
You just do it.
You just do it. And like you said, there's times where I'm going to feel more stressed than others. I turned in a book yesterday. Yeah. And I haven't even acknowledged that I did that. I literally chewed like 3 packs of gum in an hour because I was like, like doing the last bit of stress. And it is very stressful and operating on very little sleep and just having that stress and deadline. Yeah. And for me,
congratulations, by the way.
I know, like I didn't even acknowledge that. Yeah. I haven't celebrated it because that's how I do it. You know me.
I know you jumped to the next one.
I don't know. I just start chewing more gum.
Well, pat yourself on the back because that's huge. Huge.
Well, anyway, going back to realisticness.
Yeah. How about you?
What the gum thing? A lot of people, like when they quit something, they go cold turkey. And I just want to throw it out there. Like cold turkey may not be the best strategy for our listeners. Like if you're trying to do all or nothing, 100 miles an hour or 0 miles an hour, it's okay to not do that kind of flip flop. I know we said that earlier, but I'm not going to ever just stop my gum shipments. Yeah. It's not me. Yeah. I don't want to either. And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Anyway. All right. So you made a more realistic approach. So that's good. Yeah. Okay. We're at SMART.
Timely. So hold on. Here's my visual, my timeliness.
Just happen to have that.
Just happen to have my little clock sitting here. And what does that mean why should you think about timeliness and time when it comes to goal planning in our
because for me, I'll just say for me, I can get off track unless I'm keeping track of like my progress, and having like little time frames to measure things, I guess. So because sometimes your strategy isn't working, but you haven't set a time frame where you can reevaluate. You know what I'm saying?
I do. So for me, get away from you, and you're like, oh yeah, someday I'm gonna do X. Yeah. Like I remember last year you talked about, or just in years past, you said someday I'd like to go to Europe, and that's like a future random statement. But then one day you said, next summer I want to go to Europe, and you put a deadline, and that was something you timed, and then you said, well, this is how I'm going to save for it, and every month I'm going to put aside X amount of dollars. Yeah. So you made a schedule and a timeline.
Yeah, and that helped because we did reach our money goal and everything.
You were all ready to go.
I know. Then damn COVID. But for my meal cooking at home, I put a Sunday date on it, And I figured like to get real specific with time, like, because there's a certain time on Sunday, like towards the evening, maybe actually in the afternoon, I start doing the planning and then the shopping. And so I figure maybe I should set like a 2 o'clock Sunday, sit down, meal plan, make a grocery list, and then do it. And then maybe every Sunday reevaluate, like, did those meals work? Did they not? I'm thinking of, it kind of inspired me to even maybe put together a little file on my computer of tried and true recipes or meal ideas for each week. Cause that's another thing, is I run out of ideas. Don't you? Like, you know, you can only cook so much chicken so many ways, you know? So
I'm going to bring you over some of my cookbooks then. If you
I
need some more help,
know
I
I
can
use
help you
them
with
a
that one.
lot.
That can help. But you know what's funny is the more you talk, I see the more like you're diving in deeper, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I need to not only do my timing with the meal planning and my
Yeah.
timing with when I'm going to eat out and tracking it, but then also, like you said, it creates a little bit more problems. Like, well, who's going to do all this cooking? Is that all
Yeah.
me? Is it the
Yeah.
kids? Is it the husband? And
Yeah.
what are we going to make? Should we just make chicken or other foods?
Yeah.
So you're right. It's like these things get a little bit more complicated once
Yeah.
we spend time going through the workshop and the worksheet
Yeah.
and figuring
Exactly.
it out. It's not just
Yeah.
as simple as like, oh, I'm going to cancel my Amazon subscription by the end of today.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, that's something I can do. However, I'm pretty sneaky, and I've learned to like you're at the grocery store and you just throw some gum on the thing. Or here's another one. What about all the gum I have hidden all over the house? See, I'm starting to uncover some potential landmines as well. Where does that count? Because I buy it a lot and it's everywhere. Like I have it in coat pockets, I have it in my purse, I have it in my office, I have it all over in my car. So does that count as part of my 1 month shipment?
I don't know.
Yeah, I need to kind of take a look at that.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the timeliness.
Yeah. So deciding where all your gum is hidden and what you're going to do when you find hidden gum.
It's like I'm some kind of closet addict. I sound ridiculous. Well, the struggle is real, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. I mean, I think our listeners know what we're getting at with our examples here. You know, we're trying to help our listeners come up with goals that are going to work for them, but something that they can actually achieve, and to really spend time drilling down to make sure that you've ironed out all these kinks. That way you're actually going to have momentum in 2021 and achieve your goals. It doesn't matter if it's weight loss or education or saving for money. Yeah. I mean, you have to go through all the minutia of the goal to make sure that it's doable, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's mindfulness, like making yourself think about these little details, because you'll get tripped up otherwise. So yeah. Yeah. And it's funny, the sheet is so helpful, because really, even though my goal originally was not to eat out, now I'm realizing that I have to put my energies into cooking and planning and thinking about the division of work in the home. And, so it's a little bit overwhelming, but at the same time, I feel like at least I'm way better prepared than I was before.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Well, I felt like this workshop was really helpful for me too, Tamara, because initially I kind of was being flippant, like, oh, that'd be fun. I could talk about how my embarrassing gum chewing thing and I'll just cut back. But then I realized, going into it more, I realized I feel a little stressed. Like I've written like 8 books in 2 years and I haven't taken a break. And I'm writing books left to right. I'm managing the podcast and the Facebook groups and the premium group, and doing live videos with you and by myself. And I work another job, a full-time job, in like a career job, Monday through Friday. I sleep very little on the weekends, and I have 2 kids that need me as well, and a husband. So I'm recognizing that I might be a little bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And stressed. And I may need to recognize that I don't necessarily need to do all of those things. Like I might need to prioritize and do the things that I love and bring me the most joy and in line with my values, and say no to some things that aren't. Wow.
I know. Wow.
I didn't even know I was going to say that. That just kind of came out, but it's true, right?
Yeah. And this is, the start of the year is the time to think about these issues. Am I doing am I getting wrapped up in things that aren't bringing me closer to my really, true value? What are my true values?
Yes. Yeah.
These are tough, but good. This is a great time to start thinking about it. Yeah. And it's funny, you can be like us and start with something that seems trivial, but you can get to the root of it, I think.
You can get to the root of it pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious how our Set the Bar Low workshop helped you, the listener. Tell us your goals for 2020. 21. Sorry, I'm still in 2020. Tell us your goals for 2021 by emailing Stephanie at dirtylazyketo.com or via Facebook or Instagram at dirtylazyketo. Your story or comment might be read on the air. Before we get to our final hacks, let's take a last break.
Awesome. Well, Tamara, I'm going to jump in with a little surprise for you. I didn't even know I was going to do this, but in our conversations, this came out that I need to share this.
Okay.
I ordered something fun that I'm going to bring to your house.
Oh, nice.
This is a custom Dirty Lazy Keto blank calendar.
I love
and
that.
It's peel and stick, and you can put this on your refrigerator and use a dry erase marker to keep track of your goals and how often you're eating out. And I'm going to put on there how often I'm ordering gum. And any of our listeners that write into us, like you said, with their plan and their goal, and they want to share with us their New Year strategy, I'm going to mail them one of these for free as well.
That's cool. What
as many as we start reading on air, I'll start mailing these out for free because I like gifts. So I'm going to do that.
I love that.
Those are a surprise, right?
Yeah.
You didn't even know I was going to do that.
No, what a great idea.
It's spontaneous.
It's great.
I want to help you reach your goal.
I need it.
Yeah. Hey, don't we all? We all need a little fun. Well, I like accountability and shortcuts. And I share a lot of these shortcuts in the new Dirty Lazy Keto No Time to Cook cookbook. Things like that, like writing the grocery list on the refrigerator and keeping track of meal planning, kind of like you mentioned. And all these strategies are in here. I want our listeners to be able to start off 2021 without any excuses in mind about, I don't have time to cook. I want to help them. So if you order pre-order the Dirty Lazy Keto No Time to Cook cookbook, or you order it, I'm definitely interested in helping you support your journey. And you can order your copy on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or inside Target starting in January.
Wow. Thanks, Stephanie. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up our episode by sharing a goal we've each achieved in the past by following this strategy.
Well, I was thinking about it in the past, Tamara, and for me, my example in the past was I ran the San Francisco Marathon as an official pacer. And a pacer, you might have seen these people on TV, they run the marathon 26.2 miles, but they run at the exact same pace every mile, and they carry a big sign with a number on the top so that crowds of people can follow you and run that exact pace and finish at a predicted time. And so for me, that was very challenging because before I was kind of erratic and inconsistent. So I had to do a training program, and I got a free training schedule from marathonrookie.com. And I followed their 16-week schedule, and I committed to that. And I got the support of my family. I ran on those assigned dates and the exact amount of time that they told me to do. I basically just followed everything the guy said, and I saved my money and bought the right gear for a hotel, and I was able to do it. And it was something I'm really proud of that. It still surprises me that I was able to do that because I had to really follow that schedule and commit to it, but it worked.
Wow, that's great.
What about you? What's your example of following a smart goal?
Yeah, well, I'm always trying to declutter, and our garage is just a mess. And in the past, I would say, I'm gonna declutter. I'm gonna purge the house. First of all, my big mistake was deciding to take on the entire house. So then you feel overwhelmed, and it failed. But I was successful one time, and I'm thinking back, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's because it follows a lot of this, this worksheet that we have. But what I ended up doing was chunking it into, little pieces. And I found a kind of like you online. I went online and found it's called a 30-day declutter challenge. And it has a calendar like the one that you held up. And it tells every day just a small thing, like day 1, clean your junk drawer, just one. And then day 2, go through your shoes. pick out, so I'm not going and doing the entire closet, which would normally I would do. And then 3 hours later, I'd be like, oh God, having it looked worse. So having a plan in, little bite-sized chunks made it it was much more realistic, and it was much more structured. And so that was a real win for me, because I did everything on the 30-day challenge, and my house did look much better.
I remember that. That was amazing. I would be like, Tamara, do you want to go for a walk? And you're like, no, I'm cleaning out, the left side of my garage per my calendar today. And I was like, okay, then. You were very serious. You are a goal-oriented person.
I am, and it's a challenge. You know me, I like a challenge.
Anything with the word challenge, Tamara will win. I just want you to know.
You bet I'm going to finish this 30 days.
I'm going to rock that 30 days. You don't play. No, you don't play. I hear that. No, I'm having a flashback to my last mile of the San Francisco Marathon, where I was starting to lose it, and I was like getting delirious, and I was tired. And I remember the people around me were like, does she need to take a break? And my husband was there, and he was like, because he was like my backup in case I died, And my husband said to the person, oh no, this is when Stephanie shines. There's no way in hell she'll let you down. And it made, I want to cry now, but I remember him saying that to someone, and he didn't know I was listening, but it's true. I think you and I are both like that. Like when it comes down to it, if there's an assignment and there's a goal in mind, you and I will be damn sure we're going to finish it.
I know. I don't know. It's just my pride or something. I don't.
We're stubborn. We're dirty, lazy, stubborn girls. I guess.
This is where it becomes a good thing, I guess.
I think it's amazing, and I'm very proud of you.
Yeah. Me too.
Well, here's the deal, listeners. Any goal is possible when you break it down into smaller, more realistic, actionable, timely steps. So if something is important to you and you're dreaming about it for 2021, take some time and work this SMART template against your goal to fine tune it and make sure that you've got an appropriate roadmap for success.
And are you enjoying the Dirty Lazy Girl podcast? Show us your support by leaving a review, and here's how you do it. Go to your iPhone and select the purple podcast icon, use the search tool and type in Dirty Lazy Girl, and then you click on our thumbnail to open it. Scroll down until you see ratings and reviews. Click on the stars and please select 5 stars. Scroll down and select leave a review, type in your review and hit OK. And if you are on YouTube, thank you for your support on YouTube. Please subscribe to our channel, like us, and leave us some comments.
Awesome. And I even have a comment that was left by Barbara on YouTube a couple days ago. And nice. Barbara said, this must have been after our holiday episode about stress and fighting with family, because Barbara suggested you might try to discuss bad feelings with people over the holidays. Phone calls, FaceTime each other, that can be done any time of year. And it really takes the worries out of the holidays.
Oh, great advice, Barbara.
Thank you, Barbara, for watching on YouTube and giving us some tips.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Dirty Lazy Girl podcast. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Turn on your notifications so you'll never miss a video. And